Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at how we can set up our Link PDM module and a Link CAN keypad so we can do some basic output functionality control from our PDM module. Now, before we head into the tutorial, there are a few details that I want to discuss. We want to make sure that our CAN keypad is only going to be assigned one master. What that's going to mean is if you have multiple CAN modules on your network, so let's say you have a PDM module and you have a Link G4X or a G5, you want to assign your CAN keypad to one or the other as the master for control, then the other will be the slave in terms of how the CAN keypad works. So meaning this tutorial, I'm going to be taking the CAN keypad and making my Link PDM module the master. We could then take the CAN keypad requests and broadcast it on our CAN network out to the other modules. So in this case would be a Link G5 I have in my CAN network. Now we're not going to do that yet, but we need to establish that we have a master assigned to only one of the CAN modules in the system to the CAN keypad. So either we're assigning our Link CAN keypad to the PDM as the master or to the Link G4X or G5 as the master. Now, technically, you can assign both as masters. That's going to create a lot of problems for you. You're going to get conflicting CAN messages and errors, and it's going to be a mess to try to figure out. So only assign your Link CAN keypad to one module or the other, not all the modules or multiple modules in your CAN network. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is quickly jump into the software and take a look at a few things. What we're going to find is that we have to set up some of the basic functionality in terms of the CAN addressing for the CAN keypad so that the Link PDM is going to see the CAN keypad and understand what's going on as I'm pushing the buttons on the CAN keypad. And this is pretty simple, but there are a few details that we have to follow and make sure are correct. One thing, jumping in here to our PDM Link software, if we take a look at this, I went here to the PDM. I am connected to the PDM. We can see that down here at the bottom showing connection status connected. I did go here to reset settings. I reset all the settings back to the default settings that it should ship from Link with. This is to make sure that we're starting off with a fresh, clean slate and we're not inheriting any kind of odd output control or any kind of odd programming that you may not intend to happen with the PDM module. It's important when you want to get started with this as a kind of, again, a fresh, clean slate to go ahead and do that reset. The other thing you're probably going to be noticing here, if we take a look right here in our page layout area, this is where we can create the layouts and the pages so that we can see specific functions or tasks within the software. It's blank. Now it's blank on purpose because I want to go in and make sure that I'm starting off with a fresh, clean slate in the page layout as well. So what we can find here is that there is a start page present, but it is blank. In order to delete any pages you may have existing in your PDM software, if you go in here to the right click to whatever the page is going to be, you can delete the page. So I just simply went in and deleted all the pages, except now I have this singular page that we're going to be starting from. So we can see this page is going to be labeled start. That's fine. This is a starting point. We want to access some basic programming information. And this page or table will be good for that. What I'm going to do here is go up to this little start point, double click, and we can find here, we're going to have our PDM setup. So we're going to bring this window into play. We're also going to go here into, let's go to our control setup. We're going to have to go expand our tree down here to get some of the settings we want to go and access. There is a CAN setting we want to go double click on. This is going to allow us to program some of our basic functionality here. So let's bring that up onto our window. This is the first thing that we really need to jump into to make sure that we're assigning everything correctly. Now, in my case, just so we're very clear with what I have going on in my CAN network, I have my Link G5 here on the test bench. Then I have my Link CAN keypad in the CAN network. Then at the end of the network, I have my PDM module. Now I only have one PDM module. The important thing about this is that the PDM module is the last CAN module in the system. That's going to require us to turn on the terminating resistor. Anytime you have a CAN system, the last module always gets a terminating resistor. That's going to tell the CAN network that's where we truncate or end the CAN communication in that CAN system. So we can see right here under the CAN settings, we have a termination setting. We want the termination right here to go from off to on, and then we want to go up to PDM and then go here to store settings. And we can see, would you like to commit the PDM settings to memory? And I'll say yes. So that's going to essentially be sending that to the PDM. So it stores that regardless if the power is on or not to the PDM. It's going to always have this programming functionality set into the memory. Okay, the next thing we need to discuss is the bus data rate. This is going to be the bus speed. we can see right here we have a bunch of different options. Right now it's set on 1 megabit per second. This is important. We have to set the bus speed correct, or the CAN keypad won't communicate on the CAN network. All of the modules on your CAN network have to be on the same communication speed. Now, it just so happens if you have a Link CAN keypad, the default speed will be 1 megabit per second, but you can change your speed here using these options. So I'm going to keep it here on this 1 megabit per second option. The next thing we have here is the quick setup, and we're using the quick setup for our PDM 1. I only have one PDM within the CAN network here, so this is what we're going to be assigning. The next thing we need to jump into here is going to be assigning our CAN channel. What this is going to do is allow us to assign the CAN network to communicate between all the other CAN modules. So essentially what we're going to be doing here is telling the Link what addressing it needs to look for in the mode and the CAN ID. So we can see we have different options here. So what we're going to be looking for in the CAN network, we're essentially going to be telling it to look specifically for the CAN keypad. Now, let's go through and set this up real quick. So my CAN channel 1 here, my mode in this case, will be keypad 1. You can have up to 2 keypads on your CAN network. So we're going to be selecting this specific option here, CAN keypad 1. The CAN ID is going to be specific as well. This is essentially the address it's going to be looking for to communicate. This is going to be set to 405. Now we'll talk about how we found this number here in just a second. If you don't understand CAN programming, it definitely can get a little bit confusing, but this is the CAN ID that you have to use. Then our format, we have either standard or extended. We're going to be using a standard format, and then the TX rate, the communication rate, should be set anywhere between 5 to 10 hertz. I'm going to set it to 10 hertz. Now, how do I know what the CAN ID is going to be? This definitely can be confusing. Well, this is going to be, when we're looking at a Link CAN keypad, they default the CAN ID at 384, but the actual CAN ID here, when we're assigning it in the network, has to be 384 plus the node ID, which is usually set to 21. That's where I got the value.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.